Welcome to the French Drainman channel. I'm your host, Robert Sherwood. We have a really good video for you. We're going to show you so many details to how to build a really good, efficient drain. We're going to show you how to move more water. We're going to show you how to build so that you can store water on site until the city infrastructure catches up. This is becoming more common where the city infrastructure falls behind during a big rain event and your water has to be held on site in a way to where it's not going to cause a problem and cost you money and property damage. But when the city infrastructure starts moving again and you can actually drain out your system, it can then be collected in the storm sewers. So we're going to show you a bunch of details. We're going to get you all kinds of very good information because we want the DIY to succeed. It's hard enough to put in a yard drain. And if a homeowner, a do-it-himselfer, is willing to put in the sweat equity, you want to get it right the first time. So the guys are putting in 2 pipes that are perforated for the bottom of the system. We want to have 2 pipes at the bottom of the trench. Just like filling a glass with water, the water fills the glass from the bottom up. No matter how it enters the glass, it's going to fill the glass up from the bottom up. We know we're going to catch the water at the bottom of the trench. We have 2 pipes with giant inlets. These inlets are going to take in all the water, and then the pipe acts as a big void. The water just moves through that void. The bigger the void, the more water you can store on site. The bigger the inlets in the pipe, the more water you can draw in. And the bigger inlets in the pipe, the more air that can pass through the system when you're not moving water. Now, the 3rd pipe that we put on top is the high octane armor pipe. It's the heaviest solid corrugated pipe in the world. We're going to tie some inlet basins and we're going to show you the details to that. But everybody always wants to know in the comments section, how do you hook up to a discharge line with 2 systems like this? Well, we take one of those pipes at the bottom of the trench and we tie it into a Y, and we take that top solid pipe that's going to be for the inlet basins, and we tie that in the other part of the Y, and we just Y them to a discharge line. So here you have it. You can see you just grab one of those bottom pipes because the water is going to move through both those pipes, through all those holes. The water is always going to be the same height in those 2 bottom pipes. Water seeks a level, and however high it is in one pipe, you can be rest assured it'll be that high in the other. Now you can see the inlet basins that the guys put in on that solid pipe. This is for all the bulk water at the surface. Anywhere there's a pothole in your yard, you want to spec in one of these inlet basins. Potholes are found money in my business. It's an easy way to collect the bulk water and evacuate it quickly. You just slip in one of these inlines, and these are directional tees. I love them. So you definitely, when you install these directional tees, want to pay attention that you're installing it correctly and you don't install it backwards. When the water goes through that inlet, it's going to go down into that tee, and then it has a sweeping motion to get it going in the right direction. All right, let's take a look at one of these directional tees. You can see how it has a sweeping motion. Water always takes the path of least resistance. It's really nice to just guide it and send it in the direction that you're trying to discharge the water. When you're looking for more slope and you're trying to find more velocity, you want to use every advantage that you possibly can find when it comes to building a yard drain. Always Y your pipes together as well. If you have a directional T like this for inlet, and then Y all your pipes, right there is a Y connection. Now the top pipe is the solid pipe, and any dirt or debris that the yard drain takes in will not go into the perforated holes because we have a solid pipe. The inlet basins are all tied into that solid pipe. We're isolating all the debris, all the bark and dirt, yard pollution that'll find its way into that top pipe. It won't contaminate the rest of the system. Matter of fact, all this drainage stone that we're putting in will not end up full of dirt. We will keep it preserved. The French drain should last forever if you do this right. Never use your perforated pipe as your yard drain pipe. The French drain at the bottom relies on you being able to get the water inside the void in the pipe. If you plug all those inlets, if you plug all the perforations in the bottom French drain pipes, what'll happen is you can't get the water to the discharge line anymore when you can't get any water in a pipe. So this is why I preach never tie inlet basins into your perforated French drain pipe. It's probably one of the biggest sins in yard drainage. These guys want to just run a trencher and make a little groove in the yard, put one pipe in there, and they want to use it for everything. Now, it's really important that you have your perforated pipe at the bottom and you have your solid pipe on top. You can see how we wide all the solid pipe together. We have all these inlets running through this yard and all the potholes collecting all that surface water. We have that system contained in one top solid corrugated pipe. At the bottom, we have the two perforated pipes. The water is going to run through the stone. It's going to find its way through those perforations, and it's going to move through the voids of the perforated pipe, and it's going to be carried to that discharge line. Always make sure to stand on your pipe when you're pouring the stone in your trench. If the stone gets up and under your pipe, because the pipe is lighter than the stone, right a weight. That's what happens. So that's why you see the men always standing on the pipe or holding the pipe down with shovels. When you're pouring the stone in, be very vigilant of that. You want to keep your pipe at the very bottom. Now we're going to show you how to close this up, the proper way to cut the fabric out so that you succeed and have a really, really good drain. Now, if you have a sprinkler system, you'll have no problem growing grass over a French drain. You can go ahead and cut your sod out on the deepest notch of the sod cutter and then put it back over top. But if you don't have a sprinkler system, you're going to want to leave this low. You're going to have less stone in the trench so that you can wrap the fabric up and then go ahead and put 4 or 5 inches of topsoil and sand mixed. We call it sandy loam, so you can grow sod on your French drain. Now you can see how the guys go ahead with the fabric and they cut out around that yard drain inlet. Now you want to cut any excess fabric off. You never want to overlap fabric more than a couple of inches, just enough to use the fabric pins to hold it together. If you have a lot of overlap, what happens is you end up where this drainage fabric will no longer take in water. This drainage fabric of ours is double punched and it has all these inlet holes. If you overlap it, the inlet holes do not line up, so you can't get water to run through it. So just a precaution, make sure you don't just wad up the extra fabric and just kind of haphazard, stuff it all underneath the sod. You want to trim it. You can see that the men took time to trim this excess fabric so that when they pin it together, there's not a heavy overlap. Just a couple of inches, just enough to use the fabric pins to burrito wrap this. You want to have a fully contained system. You don't want any of the dirt to fill the voids of the stone, because if the voids of the stone are filled with dirt, you're not going to draw in water and you're not going to get water to the void that the pipe creates at the bottom of the trench. This is ever so important, and this is one of the biggest mistakes that I see when using fabric. If you found any of these tips helpful, give us a thumbs up. It supports the channel. If you have any additional questions about installing a yard drain French drain combination, leave them in the comments section. I'm your host, Robert Sherwood, and until the next video.